To kind of tell folks a little bit more about, your timeline. Like, how did you get involved in the restaurant industry? Some good, the bad, the ugly, and where you are now.
Well, my origin story, it starts on March 6th, 1980. It was a Thursday, 9 a.m. I burst into the scene. I started cooking at a very young age. I'm a mama's boy, so I was always following my mother and my grandmother around the kitchen. They're both like really, really good cooks.
What's on, everybody? Welcome back to the Culinary Business Network, presented by the Feed the Soul Foundation, the only membership network where you can connect, learn, and grow with like-minded culinary professionals, learn from industry experts, all at your fingertips. I'm your host, Derek Robinson from the Feed the Soul Foundation, and today we are doing our fourth episode of Let's Toast Live. Today, I have a very special guest, the world famous, y'all. We talk about, I think there's a Wikipedia page made about him. I can't even imagine it right now, but he's going to tell it all for us. The myth, the legend, the man who's been on everything you can imagine when it comes to food. He's been on the Food Network. He's been a Chop champion. He's an amazing restaurateur here in the city of Houston. He's owned several different concepts. None other than Chef Shannen Toon. A little bit more about him, but I'm not going to speak for him, but the little things that I know about him, he has been from the high-end hotels. He's worked with notable chefs. He has been working with comfort foods. And not only is he an innovator and entrepreneur, but he's also an amazing business consultant that brings a wealth of expertise to the table. You guys give me a round of applause. Join me with a round of applause of welcoming Shannen Toon. Chef Shannen Toon.
That was a great introduction. That was a great introduction.
That's all we can do. That's all I can do here.
I appreciate that.
So Shannen, tell a little about, tell the people who you are, what's going on. Like, give folks the tips, give the things.
Well, I'm Chef Shannen Toon. I am the owner of Craft Burger, Pecking Order, Dining with the Toons, and Karaoke's, as well as Dining with the Toons catering business, and co-owner of Craft Brothers Seasoning Company. A ton of things. The last 10 years have been a very busy year. Years for us, opening all these different restaurants, from being on the Food Network show Chop, being the first chef from Houston to win. We've been doing a lot.
Yeah. I like to hear that. Being a chef, I know a lot of folks want to hear from you as a restaurant owner. You've been very well and really well renowned in the space of going from step 1 to step 30 to step 100. A lot of folks always are thinking about what's the next step or how can I get involved, things of that nature. Kind of tell folks a little bit more about, your timeline. Like, how did you get involved in the restaurant industry? Some good, the bad, the ugly, and where you are now.
Well, my origin story, it starts on March 6th, 1980. It was a Thursday, 9 a.m. I burst into the scene. I started cooking at a very young age. I'm a mama's boy, so I was always following my mother and my grandmother around the kitchen. They're both like really, really good cooks, and my mom says, she always tells the story that she knew I had an aptitude for cooking when I was around 2.
Okay.
And she said one weekend she had made like a chocolate cake for someone. And then the next weekend she was doing it for someone else. Right. And I asked her if I could help her. And she said, sure. She said, let me run to the bathroom and then we'll start making it together. She said when she came out the bathroom, I had lined up all the ingredients in order of how she used them.
Oh, wow.
From last week. And she was like the fact that, I'm 2, I can't tie my shoes, but I remembered all the ingredients and in the order in which he used them. And then it just kind of led, from that point on, I was telling a story yesterday of how I really started cooking, like cooking. And I was around 5, maybe 6 years old. And my mother worked graveyard, so she was not home for dinner. And this day, my dad made dinner. And whenever my dad made dinner, it was never going to be good. Like, my dad has many great qualities.
Hey, dads can cook, y'all. Hold on. Dads can cook. Hold on.
He had many great qualities, but cooking
Was not one of them.
Was not one of them. And he made spaghetti, and to this day, I don't know how you burn spaghetti, but he burnt spaghetti.
That's a staple, y'all. You
can't. Like to this day, I just don't know. It was crunchy and burnt. So I don't know what exactly happened there. But my dad was like, he had a no waste food. If he cooked, we were eating it.
Yeah.
It was eat it or else. And that night I chose or else. And then the next day I started making dinner.
Okay.
So like simple things that I could like could make, you know, by myself. So it was burgers, hot dogs, fried chicken wings, like stuff like that. And then it just over time it grew. And as I began to watch my mother more, it became more of where it was a chore for my brother. It was something I enjoyed.
I love that.
And then it just kind of kept growing into like a middle school and high school. I remember before being a chef was like a thing, I knew that's what I wanted to do for a living. So it's like some people are like, you know, they're my age now and still trying to figure out what they want to do. I've always been blessed because I knew what I wanted to do from a very young age. So everything, you know, all my electives in middle school and high school were always food driven, always had food jobs. My first job working for a caterer, Jamaican caterer, Linda Little. Slave labor. She's paying me like $6 a day. Even back in that time, that was not. It was wild, but it was like it was like really good, like just learning a different cuisine right off the bat. And then like I started working in the supermarket, and it was like one of those jobs that like when you look at the grand scheme of things, it's like that's probably not that important. But that's when I started to be introduced to different produce, besides the things that just my family eat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, what is this Korean family buying? What is this, you know, Puerto Rican family buying? What is this, you know, Italian family buying? What is this Polish family buying? So it helped me to like open my mind and see different ingredients. And then after that, I got like my first job working at a hotel. I was working at a Holiday Inn, and I had that job for like 5 years, like from like my junior year in high school through when I finished college.
Wow.
I went to college in Virginia Beach and came home and worked on the weekends. Like at this, I drove 6 hours home to do it, but it was a extremely well paying job, especially for that age. But I worked in the front of the house, but I got to like be mentored by like a chef who went to culinary school, like, and he kind of put it in me to go to culinary school. And just being able just to see how things ran at an early age, from banquets to restaurant service to line cook stuff, and just being able to see it and touch it at that age kind of started to build like a real desire for me. Now I know it's a real job. I told my dad I wanted to be a chef. All he heard was cook. And he was not supportive of me going to school to be a chef for a long time. But I did finally end up going to culinary school. I went to Johnson & Wales University. And there it was just like, you know, now I'm really learning something different. Like, you know, like as far as I think most people, like, you know, before they start working in the industry or go to culinary school, it's like they're just used to the food that their family eats. And then now I'm seeing things from a world like perspective. And then just getting out and being around different people from different parts of the country. I tell people I learned more about people than I did about food in school. Just learning like the differences and the similarities of people from all over the world. But it was like a pivotal period in my time, because now it's like it wasn't just I'm learning something, but I remember my parents weren't huge supporters of me going to culinary school. I was also paying for it, so having to work through that, like work a full-time job while going to school. And I think in culinary school it's a little different, because you're in class cooking for 6 to 8 hours, and then you leave and then you have to go do it again for 6 to 8 hours. So that was tough, but it also gave you a little bit of fortitude, a little grit. Because every day's not gonna be easy. I told you this would take like 20 minutes. Like,
hey, no, it's good.
So I go to Johnson & Wales. I go to the campus in Virginia Beach. I get like My associates, but like right before I got my associates, I saw on the Food Network, which was new at the time. That's how old I am. They were doing the South Beach Food and Wine Festival for the first time, and I saw that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to Miami.
Yeah.
And then I forgot what Jay-Z video was, but it was one of the videos he shot with Pharrell, and there's this girl in this video, and I said,
"That's it.
She's the one. she's it. She was dancing with Jay-Z, but she was dancing for me."
Was it no clothes?
It might have been.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, were they on the beat on the yacht?
Yeah.
I think that's what. I think it is. We're aging ourselves. Hold on.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to that. We're going to put that clip on there. But
yeah, but I said, I'm going to Miami to find this young lady.
Yeah.
And so like the next semester, I went to the Johnson Wells in Miami. My intention was to get my my bachelor's in culinary arts. But soon after, before I can meet that lady, I met my wife. You know, my wife is a chef. We met in culinary school. And as I met my wife, I got this job working for the Mandarin Oriental. It was a luxury, like super luxury, 5-star, 5-diamond resort and hotel. And within a week or two, I said, I've stepped into uncharted waters. Like I'm seeing sushi chefs. I'm seeing, you know, wok stations. I'm seeing ice carvings. I'm seeing elaborate fruit carvings. I'm seeing a bakery department that bakes everything.
Yeah.
From the bread that we use to desserts to cookies to brownies to these elaborate chocolate and sugar sculptures, like things that like I had never seen and he didn't necessarily teach in school. And I was talking to my chef about like, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, getting my bachelor's, and he was like, there's not one chef here who has a bachelor's in culinary.
Wow.
And he was just like, it's all about the time that you spend, not necessarily the time you spend in the books in the classroom. And I realized right then and there, I said, yeah, there will be no more bachelors.
Yeah.
Like for what, you know? Yeah. And then truthfully, when I look back at it, I have friends who got their bachelors. None of them got to do the things
that you're doing.
I did. You know what I'm saying? Because while they were in school, I was getting work, real work life.
Yep.
I've also never worked for someone who had a bachelor's. It's like, it was like, I don't think it's necessary. Like if you go in very specific fields, it's necessary. If you go down to nutrition, if you can work in a hospital, you know, things like that. Yeah. But me and my wife always joke. She said, we've never done a job interview and someone's even asked to see our diploma. Like we could have made this all up and, and no one would know. That's not like, not that super important. But I'll fast forward a little bit. I worked at the Mandarin. I got to work at some of their properties. We got to open the New York property. My wife also worked for the Mandarin Oriental, different location than me, but same company. So yeah, we moved to my New York, opened that one. I got to work in a fine dining restaurant in New York City, where I fully understood the phrase, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Yep. They let us know for every one of us that was hired, 900 people applied for that position. So it was literally the best of the best.
Yeah.
And like when I look back at some of the other cooks I work with, they are doing like, you know, great things all over the world. Yeah. You know, like literally, like I look at the class of people who like where they are today, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like we're everywhere, you know, from that lineage of that one property. Yeah. And then from there, we went to Vegas. I got to work in several casinos and restaurants in Vegas, and really got to hone in on what my management style was going to be like. I seen really good management. I saw really bad management. Yep. When I worked at Caesar's Palace, it was like from the head down, it was poor leadership. Like the way they treated their people. I'll give an example. I was hired and I took over a fine dining Italian restaurant, right? When they hired me, they knew that in a month or two, I think it was 2 months, that they were changing that restaurant from a fine dining Italian restaurant to a casual restaurant, right? They didn't tell the people until 3 days prior. And I was like, why? And there was like, according to the union laws, they only need to give 3 days. And I was like, that's really messed up. People's lives are being affected. They needed to get daycare situated. They needed to coordinate things with their spouses, and somewhere down the line, somebody was going to lose a job. And I thought that was really foul how they handled that. And then another instance where someone like was requesting vacation, right? They had 2 weeks vacation, right? And they 6 months ahead, were saying, "Hey, I need this time off," right? And it wasn't during like a major convention time or something like or a major holiday where we would need them to be there. So I was just like, oh, this shouldn't be a problem. So I approved it, but then my boss had to approve it. So I bring it to my boss and he denied it. I was like, why? And he was like, well, the union law says that we don't have to take a request off before 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, this person's giving you plenty of time to figure something out. And you're saying no? Because the flip side of that is that this person, they're not they're telling you they're going on vacation. They're telling you when. They're just going to call out. Yeah. Because it's hard to fire them too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she could do this. Yeah. And it will only hurt us, you know? So I worked there. I worked there for exactly 1 year. It was 1 calendar year. I started there June 14th. I was out of there June 14th the next year.
Say I gotta go.
I go to MGM Grand, and their management was completely different. Mm-hmm. Same scenario. Someone requested off, right, and they gave us the time off. And before I learned my lesson, I brought it to my boss and said, hey, what do you feel about this? Like, this person, he's requesting off 3 months from now. How do you feel? And he was just like, he's like, there are 120 other people who do the same job as this person. Yeah. Why can't we give this person off? Yeah. It was the same exact thing, but a completely different idea of dealing with people. It's coming from Vegas. It was always about like adding a wow factor and adding this and adding that and doing things with texture and adding in molecular gastronomy, making this foam, and in California, just like, all right, can you just cook the chicken right? Yeah, like the chicken was humanely raised, had the best diet a chicken can have. Like, it was killed 3 o'clock, this afternoon for 5 o'clock dinner. Like, can you just put some salt and pepper and not overcook the chicken? The technique was more important than all the other stuff. So that was a great lesson for me to learn, because I went from overcomplicating food to now simplifying food. Yeah. And that helped a lot when I got to Texas, because after LA, I moved to Austin. I was the chef at the Driscoll for 4 years. And it was more about refining comfort food. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So having that step where I learned to uncomplicate things helped in Texas, where I was able to refine things without making it complicated. And Austin and LA are very similar with, they want the fresh, they want the healthy. Where you source things from is very much important. And coming from LA to Austin definitely helped. And then when I came to Houston, that was a different learning. Like, when I came to Houston, I really started to get known when I started cooking the food my grandmother and my mother taught me how to make. Yep. That's where it kind of went for a full circle. Yeah. And then it was more about my first big dish that I did here was it was a chicken fried Cornish game hen, chicken and waffles. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was an elevated chicken and waffles. Yeah. And that got me a ton of press when I first came to Houston. Then it was chicken fried Kobe short ribs. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That became a thing. And then it was just foie gras Twinkies. You know what I'm saying? Like simple, it was fun food. Making food fun, but still being elevated. And then after being in Houston at Hotel Derek. I was a executive chef there for 4 years. I got the real urge to step out and do my own thing.
Okay.
And that's right around the time that the Food Network reached out for me to do Chopped.
Yeah.
I did. I literally quit my job, went and did Chopped, won. And then while on Chopped, I said I wanted to, to do a food truck called Craft Burger.
Yep.
And now I did the show. I won. No one knows I won. And now I got to figure out how to make a food truck happen.
Yeah.
Before the show airs, because when they film, like anyone who's seen my episode, there's two things people don't know about it. One, I was unemployed when I filmed that. Two, they showed me working on a food truck. That was a real fake it till you make it moment, because I did not have a food truck. I had to borrow that from a friend.
Yeah.
And then the pressure was on to make it happen before the show aired.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we had to get home and get creative about how we're gonna get the money to open a food truck, but we got it done.
Yeah.
And literally our food truck was finished and ready to hit the road right as the show aired. So the show airing was my grand opening.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
That ain't God. I don't know what else is.
Yeah, it is, man. What I like about your story is I think that's a good tip for anyone who wants to be in this space, or in not even just in the culinary space, but just the spaces in life, is that I love your curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Your curiosity has allowed you to be profitable, right?
Yeah.
Like, being able to say, hey, look, I have my foundation of home, but I know there's other worlds out there. And I think that's what, being in other cities allows you to do, right? And so when you think about the different cultures, you're talking about the German, you're talking about Polish, you're talking about the Hispanic culture, the Latin culture, the African culture, all those good things have allowed you to really hone in and give you a good plate. Then on top of that, you've also seen other people, right? And you've been here for the people. And I think that's what, of course, as everybody should know, like that's people first in hospitality, right? And you've been able to see only in the back of the house to the front of the house, and just being able to really create a great community where folks come back over and over again, just having a great product. And I think that's what folks should at home while you're watching the show to definitely take in that and really absorb that, being able to step out of your comfort zone and learning something different. Because I think that's where your proudest moments can happen. Because there's nothing wrong with coming back home, but if you're able to see outside, that's definitely helpful as well too.
And then I think it was just like, like you said, the curiosity, but like for 7 years, I did the complete opposite of what I did for the rest of my career. I was in Southeast Asian cooking. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can work 7 different types of woks. You know what I'm saying? I was trained as a sushi chef. I know a lot of Asian food better than most Asian people, to the point where I had to learn Japanese. I had to learn Mandarin to a degree. I can only speak kitchen Chinese. Yeah. And at this point, I could just read it on the menu. But it was like when I go to Fung's, I'd be impressing them. They'd be like, yo, Yeah, I know. Like
I know a little 1 2. I know a little 1 2.
Yeah. I'm like, matter of fact, give me y'all menu, because it's not the same menu they give everybody else.
That's the tip. Hold on, that's at home. Hold on, we gotta explain that again.
Fung's has a whole nother menu. All right. And it's none of the stuff that's on the regular menu they give to what they call the brown eyes. That's us.
Now, I wonder if that's like all restaurants. You speak their language, they'll give you the elevated menu.
Yeah.
Like if you know little words, a little 1 2, you can get in there and get something different.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, because even like I said, yes, you may not have any type of Asian focused concepts, but you have some of those styles and techniques you probably influence.
It's more technique and precision. Like, working with Japanese chefs and like their respect for it is also like a history to it, right? So in the 80s, right, the Japanese cuisine, it wasn't really known, right? So what they did is they brought in all these French chefs from Paris to head the best restaurants in Japan and in China, right? So what you had was French precision and technique with Chinese ingredients. So I didn't work a lot in French restaurants, but I still got that French precision and technique by working in Japanese restaurants. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it was like your knife skills to be a sushi chef had to be on point. My chef would come through. And so I was working in New York, Chef Noriaki Suki. And he would come through, and let's say I was like chopping chives or cutting like parsley or cilantro. If my cutting board was green from the chlorophyll that came out from the whatever herb I was cutting, that meant my knife wasn't sharp enough, and he would take my knife and throw it in the trash.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like, and if you were lucky, you were there when he did it, so you can get your knife out the trash, clean it, and sharpen it. Yeah. But if you didn't, you just were out of a knife. And but he was teaching us is like, you have to sharpen your knives. Like not having your tools ready for the job is disrespecting the food.
Wow.
But it was like stuff like that kind of just came in and it stuck with me, so that when I went to the next level, which was going to be more difficult than that, I had already had a certain level of understanding of what it should be like in this restaurant.
Yeah. That's important. I think that's really important when it comes to folks who do want to own their own restaurant. And I always kind of preach about this, throughout dealing with, a lot of restaurants is set a standard. You know, like, don't deviate from the standard. If it's, like you said, if it's always having a sharpened knife, have that. That's your thing, always. Because I think once you're able to do that, that definitely, oozes into the other areas of, the business practices. And so, folks, that's one tip we can take from Chef Shannen Tune is like, create your standard. If it's a sharpened knife, it's the way you prepare some for the next day, the day before, so on and so forth.
How you label your products, how you wrap up at the end of the night. And then you can't go from chili cheese fries to foie gras in like a matter of weeks. It's like a lot of people, like I've had this with people I've had who work for me who they're like, man, I want to be where you are. I'm like, do you understand what I did? Yeah. Like this is 25 years what you're seeing today. You know what I'm saying? It's like the sacrifices I put in. And when I start telling people some of the stories of the things I've seen, some of the things that I've been through, they're like, man, I would. Well, yeah. They don't expect these results.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And I think, again, do your research. Yeah. Get out of the house, get out of your backyard and see what the world has to offer to be able to bring something at home, wherever it may be, to be able to bring a good product and also a good environment for your customers for years to come. So moving forward, you guys, Let's Toast Live is our monthly series where we raise a glass to you. Our incredible culinary industry and industry. Let me do that again. Moving forward, y'all, before we get into Shannen Tune's amazing story, you guys, let's talk about what Let's Toast is all about. It is our monthly series where we celebrate and raise a glass to you, our amazing culinary community. Whether it's a big win or a small victory, today is all about celebrating your growth, your gratitude, and amazing people who've supported you along the way. We'll also talk about industry trends and current food and beverage news. But just like a recap, let folks know about what we're doing here. We're going to do a quick rundown again. So we'll be mixing up some of the refreshing cocktails and mocktails and have a conversation about all things culinary industry news. So as you guys can imagine, we are doing something cool today. It's called the Industry Smash. So for those who have seen us on social media, you have already seen the recipe. And if you have not been able to see us on social media, you guys can see it on the screen now when we see the different recipes. So of course, my folks will see the cocktail Industry Smash and the mocktail Industry Smash. All right, so the next part of the show is something that I like doing. As you guys have been knowing, I'm always on social media finding something that's really kind of funny or interesting or just intriguing, just to kind of really help our restaurants get a better sense of what's happening outside of their doors. And so today, of course, is no different, you guys. So this is a section which is called our industry news. And I'm going to start off the very first one. So as you guys can imagine, as post-COVID, there's been a lot of restaurants that have made it, not made it. There's a lot of disparities when it comes to just even opening a restaurant in general. And I came across a recent thread from Mona Eats. She is an editor for, or not Mona, Mona Eats, excuse me, Mona Holmes. She is an editor for Eater in LA. And she mentions this. She says, if you live in Los Angeles and have the means, dine out now. Over the last 8 years, I've stayed in touch with operators and chefs throughout the region. Their calls are loud and clear. It's unusually slow right now. So many are closing that we can barely keep up. Our restaurants, cafes, bars, taqueros, and every single one of them needs support more than ever. and someone kind of chimed in and said there's so many restaurants closing, so many restaurants are closing. That's happening right now, and it's very sad. So, kind of, what's your take on that? I mean, you've been in California, you've been in that space, you own a restaurant. What can we do as consumers, and then also just from a restaurant operator, like, give us the insight about that as well too.
Well, I'm uniquely familiar with this topic. I just closed my last restaurant in June. Mm-hmm. Things are very, very tough. Yeah. I thought the pandemic and COVID was bad because everything was hard to get. Everything was more expensive to get. Labor in that period of time shot up like overnight. Yeah. And it was difficult, but the difference was people had stimulus checks. Yeah. People had, they're getting the enhanced unemployment. People had money to spend. Mm-hmm. And now we're dealing with all the same issues as far as, increased labor costs, increased food costs. Tariffs really, put a chokehold on things. Yeah. Rent's not getting any cheaper, and everything that cost before now just costs more. Yeah. And it's a really, this economy is a really tough time for people. It's not very many people who aren't struggling or not at least seeing a difference in their spending and how far money goes. And the very first thing people cut back on when things get tough is eating out. Yeah. So, I understand these restaurants that are closing. I know for me, it just got to the point to where it gets to the point where it's just not worth it. If I'm not making money, I'm losing money every month. Like, how far do you let it go? Yeah. If there was a clear indicator, like, all right, if I just make it to September, then things will get better. Yeah. But there's nothing on the horizon that makes me feel that things are going to get better in the near future. So I think, what the consumers can do is, I think it's important to focus on your mom and pops. Mm-hmm. Starbucks will be fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The big companies, McDonald's will be fine. Yeah. But the smaller mom and pops, especially the black and brown ones and women-owned restaurants, they get the least funding. Mm-hmm. They're the last ones to get funding. So they're generally, they open undercapitalized. So these people are opening and they don't got money, to make it through. Yeah. So these times. So if you have a favorite restaurant, a favorite coffee shop, a favorite taco shop, definitely make sure you're supporting the local ones. I don't know anybody who's out there just killing it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's and don't let social media fool you. It's our job as restaurateurs to portray a good image and a good product, but it doesn't mean that we're not struggling. Yeah. People to this day, they're like, yo, your social media was lit. Like, what do you mean that you guys are closing? I'm like, yo, those likes do not equal dollars. Yeah. So I definitely understand what's happening in LA. And in LA, I mean, they had the fires. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Then they had the strike, the actor strike. Mm-hmm. And I know I consult for a couple of restaurants in LA, and those actor strikes really hurt because the studios is not just the actors and whatever. It's the guy who works the camera, the guy who works the lights, all the people who work there, they feed into those restaurants. Mm-hmm. But then they had, the unrest with ICE and all that, that really deterred people. People weren't going to LA for events. They weren't going to LA as much. And then a lot of people were just staying in the house because they were trying to avoid all that. So I know it's been tough for them, but I mean, it's tough everywhere, all over the country. Here in Houston, we've seen several restaurant closings here, and it's, I mean, unfortunately, we're not done. It's not going to be over anytime soon. But for restaurateurs, make the necessary changes. Yeah. If you need to raise your prices, raise your prices. If you need to streamline your menu, streamline your menu. Yeah. If you need to invest more in marketing, invest more in marketing. But whatever changes that you have to make them and make them fast. Yeah. And then for our consumers, let's make sure you're supporting your favorite spots, or they won't be there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely important. I know you hit on a big piece about marketing. Marketing is always something that, restaurants have to do. I know a lot of folks that we've worked with, from the foundation standpoint and just our other endeavors, they do not want to be in front of the camera. They do not know how to talk about themselves, or they just don't know how. And I think, like you guys that we talked about before, you have to invest in yourself. You have to be able to learn how to tell your story effectively on your social media platforms because folks buy into you. So, again, if you are a sandwich shop, show the people how you're making the sandwich, tell them why you love sandwiches. Even the new sandwiches that you're coming out with, if you're on a regional standpoint, it's even a good thing to even do something regionally. I know when we were in Atlanta, there was a restaurant, a pizza shop that really created something very cool and different. And it went viral when we were doing an Atlanta campaign, and they did a lemon pepper chicken pizza.
Okay.
And I mean, when I tell you that thing went viral, I mean, we had it ourselves. It was good. I ain't gonna lie. It was a good piece of pizza, but I've never seen something in that space, especially for it to be in the city of Atlanta. That's the lemon pepper capital of the world, and for someone to capitalize on that for pizza really was kind of cool. And I think that's what really, and their mom and pop as well too. And I think that's what really makes their story really unique and really, really innovative as well too. But yeah. So another part you did touch on something that was another one of our topics was the ongoing trend about, where we are in social media. And, they said that social media is dead.
Okay.
All right. According to the business guru, Gary V, he says we're now in interest media. Algorithms do not care who you follow. They serve what you're interested in. The AI is literally transcribing your words and matching them to interesting and interested audiences. So go deeper, be specific, use the right words. Most won't succeed because they're too insecure about 3 views or mean comments. How do you feel about that?
That doesn't apply to me. I don't care at all. Like I'll hop in front of the camera in a moment. But I know a lot of people who are like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're like, I know people who have businesses who have their social media private. And I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to get out and reach people. But I do agree how social media has changed. I don't see who I follow anymore.
Yeah.
I see what I search.
Yep.
Keywords. If I mention something in my phone, next thing I'm going to see, I was looking for a new refrigerator the other day, and all I'm seeing is ads for refrigerators now. Mm-hmm. Like my algorithm is literally, I don't see the people I follow anymore. Yeah. It's like you have to change all the settings into it, and using the words, having the right hashtags is very, very important because everything is algorithm based. Yeah. Most of my posts that have done really, really well on social media is to write wordings and the hashtags that make it go. Yeah. And not necessarily what I am doing in the video or what they're seeing. And what he's saying about people like not being scared to get in front of the camera or to put their stuff out there. That's really what it comes out to. People are scared to put themselves and their product out there because the second you do it, then people are going to judge it. Yeah. And what unfortunate for us as humans is that we zone in on the negative comments. Yeah. And and it gets too much into our head. And for me, it's like I had to train myself too to like, if I have 100 comments and one of them is negative, don't let that one negative comment ruin my day. It's not, the ratios are very different. Yeah. So it's definitely like I agree with what he's saying, and the answer to it is you have to, like you said, use the right words and get out there more. Yeah, I agree. So just thinking more about on social media, y'all, like. Again, I'm always on social media just seeing what's out there, and it's crazy. So I want to talk about what happened a couple of weeks ago in the city of Chicago. 3 folks had dined and dashed at Flavors. It's folks who are not familiar with the restaurant. It's a Black-owned restaurant in the Chicago area, and the 3 diners skipped out on a $200 bill.
Now, the owner, he mentioned it was, of course, it was a news story. He was able to be interviewed, and he mentioned it's actually disappointing, very disappointing to see that from the community that we actually serve. And you guys can imagine restaurants in these communities. I mean, they are the staple, the cornerstones of their particular communities. And for them to be able to see their beloved community just kind of not appreciate what they have to offer, it is kind of disappointing. But he says also, he continues on and says the young lady that was serving that table, she has kids at home. You know, when you think about that, I mean, it's crazy. But sorry, I'm gonna finish the story. But he says Dine and Dash cases have risen in Chicago since the pandemic, per the Illinois Restaurant Association. And I know I was kind of chiming in between, but I mean, I think that's just really, really sad to see that folks sometimes are taking the money out of, you know, their beloved community supporters. But like, has that ever happened to you when you were doing, when you were a part of your restaurant concepts, building that, you know, in the city of Houston and things of that nature? Like, were you able to overcome that, things of that nature?
Yeah, we definitely had those issues with the Dine and Dash dashers, and it's always disappointing because it for us, it was always our people. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That did it. And like, we had to like change our policies where, you know, we went to where, almost like a counter service where you had to pay first. Mm-hmm. And things like that. But it's definitely like, you know, your only recourse is you can either call the police and press charges.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you can put it out on social media. And like in our situation, we put it out on social media and people were like, oh, we know what this is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like they came back and they paid their bill. And it was just like, I was just shocked that these weren't like kids. These were grown-ups.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, you know, shocked that a grown person who has a job would go out and steal.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is like, you're risking going to jail.
Yeah.
Over, like, for us, it was like a $30 bill. It wasn't like it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and it does have an impact. It impacts not just the business owner, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that's money out of our pocket, but it impacts the server. Like, the server doesn't get their tip now. They doesn't get, like, you know, that's how they feed their family, just like in the story that you read. So it's disheartening. And I guess, like, to me, is just like, I don't see that enough to where, like, yo, you don't do it to other people. Why are you doing it to people in your neighborhood? Yeah. You know? And it is disheartening, and it's a sign of the times. You know, people are always trying to find ways to get over. You know, the other thing was, you know, they're not Dine and Dash, but they would DoorDash. Like, they would DoorDash their food. They would get their food. They would eat their food, and then they would either say they never got it, or they didn't enjoy it. Yeah. I've seen another thing where people come in and they'll have a ball, have a good old time, pay their bill, and then dispute their credit card charges. Yeah. And I'm like, that's stealing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're stealing if you do that. If you come in, like, I've had a friend, and she has a travel business in Ghana, and she says people do that out there. Like they'll come out to Ghana, have a good old time, go to all these restaurants, go to all these bars, do all these excursions, and then dispute the charges when they get back home. And I was like, I don't know when, as a culture or a people, that became okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been glorified, especially on social media. I mean, you Dine and Dash, you know, the internet is a very sad place. You know, it can be, you know, it's a it's a footprint, right? And so, I don't know. I just can't get along with folks who end up doing that. 'Cause I mean, again, of course, that's almost livelihood you're taking. Yeah. And that's not fair. 'Cause you know, something about karma, it always gonna come back to you. So hopefully they have all their ducks in a row. Yeah. So, all right. But so the last interview topic I want to talk about, it's something that's really big for the nation. Recently the one big beautiful bill was actually passed at Congress, and was able to really now be going into law from that standpoint. And you know, there's a lot of things that happen with that particular signature one big beautiful bill, and there's a lot of new things. There's some different things. And I know for us on this platform, definitely want to kind of hone in on when it comes to the restaurant industry. I know that based on the knowledge is that folks can be able to have taxable wages of $25,000. And, I think that's very interesting. That hasn't been done before, but I, definitely want to kind of get your take on what that means. And that's even overtime to my understanding as well, too. And so what I do kind of see what that's going to happen is there's going to be some issues from the back of the house to the front of the house, and, even from a consumer standpoint, you may not tip, you may not do all that because it's actually going, or, there's a lot of gray when it comes into this particular bill and how restaurant operators are going to move forward. So what is your take on the bill and, how should one kind of prepare for that in their own space?
Well, I think it's important for restaurateurs to really educate yourself on this because I think, as most of the nation thought there was going to be a no tax on tip. That's what they said, but that's not the case. So people are still going to get taxed on their paycheck normally. Yeah. And then they'll be able to get a tax credit. So I think it'll be important to educate your staff on what that means because they're going to be assuming that they're going to be taking home a lot more money today. Yeah. And that's not necessarily how it works. And it's only up to $25,000. Yeah. And, that may be fine for someone who works at a Starbucks, but if you're a sommelier and you're making $80,000 in tips, a year, $25,000. Yeah, it's a reduction in your taxable income, but it's not like the whole thing is tax free. Yeah. I don't think much changes from how we have to process payroll. But I think, I don't know when this bill goes into effect, but I guess we'll have to learn more about that later. But it's still here's the thing. It's still a reduction. Yeah. In your taxable income. It's just not going to change your day to day finances for now. It's only when you file your taxes that you get the benefit. Like I said, it's just going to be important to educate your people because I know, for me, my front and back of the house received tips. Yeah, and this would be an issue where I know they would be expecting more money. Yeah, next payday. Yeah, and that's not going to be the case. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I can see that's going to be a big issue over the next couple of months, weeks. I know even the National Restaurant Association, they appraised it. They said this is a great way for the industry to move forward, things of that nature. I'm curious as well to what you just mentioned before. I hope there's not going to be any kind of disparities and things of that nature. But I don't know. It's a lot of gray for me. Not even to be like again, we're not a political based platform at all, but just knowing that does have a really big effect on, day-to-day operations. And hopefully, like you said before, folks are able to protect the people that, they work with and they work for and so on and so forth. So,
yeah, as a consumer, tip like you would normally tip. And I think tipping in cash is almost always the best policy. Cause then we know the server is getting, all of their monies, in that situation. But, it's even with the overtime, it's only they get overtime. I think it's up to 12,000 or 15,000.
I think it's 15,000
and overtime. And it was depending on your job. Yeah, that may be nothing or that may be a lot. So, but I mean, I guess it's still a reduction regardless. Yeah, it's just not what they made it sound like.
Yeah, I know. It's every day. Yeah, so it's something. It is something every day when it comes to that, and hopefully that there's not any other additional loopholes or fine print that everyone just did not read, when it comes to that, that particular bill being enacted across the nation. And hopefully it's a federal thing and not a local thing. Cause, then you have states can do this, then, all the different, I don't know what that all takes. But again, of course, like Shannen Tune had said, definitely educate yourself on what the bill means to you fully, even as a restaurant owner, and you personally as well too, what those benefits, whether the good, bad, the ugly, how that can affect you along the line as these things become standard in the nation for the coming years and months. So next part of the show, Shannen Tune, is that we talk about gratitude, shout outs, and toasting moments. This is an amazing opportunity where we spotlight some of our incredible community members. These stories remind us of just how powerful our journeys can be, full of passion, perseverance, and of course, purpose. So without further ado, I'm going to let my special guest for today give out the shout outs. We have quite a few of them, so I'm going to let him just run it down the list as to who we are toasting off to. And without further ado, I'm going to let you go ahead and do your thing. Shannen?
So our first one is going to be 67 Orange is in Harlem, New York. They're participants of the Black Restaurant Weeks and Feed the Soul. 69 Orange was featured in Cool Material. Harlem's own 69 Orange Street was spotlighted as one of New York City's best cocktail bars by, what is that? Cool Materials. Mm-hmm. From their home base to a pop-up at Hidden Bar, they've proven the vibe follows wherever they go. Congrats to its iconic Black-owned bar for keeping the cocktails culture alive and elevated. Cheers to more features, more flavors, and the big return uptown.
Yeah. So, have you ever been to this spot?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So when we were out there maybe a couple of years ago, really intimate bar. So if any folks who ever go to that space, go out to Harlem, things of that nature, definitely stop by to 67 Orange. I mean, it's a very cool, eclectic bar, very chill vibes. It's almost like a hallway, if you would, like just the space, if you will. And it's just that. That's all they do is just serve drinks and maybe a few light bites, if you will. But really have a nice cocktail bar. Really great folks in there who really do elevated cocktails. So if you ever get a chance, I would suggest you go there, man. It's really, awesome. Really cool. Yeah.
Now, the second one I'm very well familiar with, the Palm Coffee Bar in Burbank, California. They're participants of Latin Restaurant Weeks and the Feed the Soul. I was actually able to consult with them 2 years ago, mm-hmm. and I'm still in contact with them. If you're in Burbank, I highly suggest going over there to grab some of their coffee. They are true baristas. I learned so much about how to brew coffee, how to do it right. They source the best organic product that you can get locally. And I've never seen a person care more about their staff. Joanna is a gem in this industry. But the Palm Coffee Bar is celebrating 7 incredible years of serving the Burbank community located in Magnolia Park. This PTS cohort member continues to thrive as a vibrant Cuban and female-owned coffee shop rooted in culture, creativity, and connection. With a loyal customer base and a strong neighborhood presence, they're a shining example of how staying true to your brand and your people fuels long-term success. Cheers to 7 years and many more to come. Yeah. Another thing about them, when I say about staying true to who you are, they're like on their block, like, actually not there, in a 3-block radius, there's like 5 coffee shops.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like they do well because they stay true to who they are. They care more than everyone else. And they are very big on branding. Yeah. Like the branding that they do there is really well. And they're really like, they source the best product. Like, and you can tell the difference when you have their stuff and others.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, again, number one, shout out to you guys for doing and being in business for 7 years. Like I mentioned before, even making it to 1 year or 2 years is definitely amazing. But for you guys to be at the mark of 7 years is really amazing. And just as we talked about before, definitely great way to invest in yourself, really brand yourself and just showcase, what you love, which is food, or in this case, coffee, and just being able to curate that great community when you come into their establishment. So so if you want to ever take some tips from them, definitely talk to them and talk to Chef Shannen too as well too. They are definitely folks who can assist you with being able to really have an elevated experience for your customers moving forward. So I'll let you do the next one, man.
All right, next we have Convita Cocktail Lounge in Cangas, Puerto Rico. Congrats to Convita PR. They've joined the Women in Tourism Puerto Rico Collective, a powerful group of women redefining hospitality and culture across the island. Proud to see them leading with authentic, unforgettable experiences that celebrate local flavors and community. Here's to more growth and impact ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, that I have not been to Puerto Rico yet, but that's on my list.
Oh yeah,
I need to go.
I haven't been to Puerto Rico in some time. I want to go back. I might catch them before the summer's over.
Okay. So we got to have a full list, and then definitely when I go to Puerto Rico, I'm definitely gonna put them on my list of places to stop by and support. But again, shout out to you guys for being a part of that. I think that's really good for a lot of folks who are in the restaurant industry, bars, the alike, is to have some type of partnership with your local tourism, visiting bureaus, things of that nature, because they have a wealth of resources when it comes to just from a content perspective. And you never know what type of events they may throw, and they may be able to be a supportive, there may be a symbiotic opportunity where you guys can work together in tandem to be able to highlight and bring more foot traffic to the city. So shout out to you guys as well too.
Next, we have the Win-Win Coffee in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They were also part of the Black Restaurant Weeks and the Feed the Soul program. Win-Win Coffee is leveling up, now available at giant supermarkets across Philadelphia. They're turning their dream into reality with unstoppable community support, big moves, and even bigger vibes. Philly, it's time to sip on success.
Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, being in a supermarket is also amazing too. I mean, taking a product, again, like the whole trajectory of saying, hey, look, I'm cooking something, I'm making something, creating a cafe, but now the everyday consumer can get it. If, your stores are closed, you have, your own spices and things of that nature. I mean, that's really a big look as far as any kind of restaurant.
And getting into a supermarket is a feat. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And then being successful in a supermarket is also not easy. It's like, people think you just make a product, you put it on the shelf and people buy it. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
So a big congrats to them. I know how difficult that can be.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll let you do the last one, man.
All right, so our last one is 7th Grove in Tampa, Florida. They were also part of a Black Restaurant Weeks and the Feed the Soul program. 7th and Grove just turned 5. From soulful dishes to soulful vibes, this Tampa-based culinary gym continues to flourish and uplift their community. As they mark 5 years of flavor, culture, and purpose, we celebrate their growth, resilience, and commitment to making their city proud. Cheers to many more years of impact, inspiration, and growth.
Good. Yeah. If you ever get a chance, folks, to go to Tampa, this is an amazing restaurant. They're on a strip out there in the city of Tampa. And it is a really, just as we mentioned, it's a really good vibe. I mean, they have really good food. They've been very consistent. And one thing I do like about 7th and Grove is that they are definitely community players, if you will. They definitely love to shine and have those who are a part of the community to shine in their restaurant. They've done different business networking events. They've been highlighted in different networks and things of that nature. So I mean, they're really a good restaurant to take as a model, if you will, when it comes to what you mentioned before, branding and being able to say that, hey, have a household name, if you will, when it comes to the city of Tampa. So
nice.
Yeah, good. All right, y'all, that wraps up our latest episode of Let's Toast Live. You guys, please join me in giving a round of applause to Chef Shannen Toon. You guys, he gave us a lot of great knowledge about, his journey and how to really be curious about the culinary industry, being able to hone in on who you are. And of course, just, really being educated when the things to come that may not have your own effect, but they affect your business. So definitely reach out to him personally. I know he's definitely accessible on social media. If you want to give that a shout out, you can.
Yeah, you can definitely reach me at Chef Toon on Instagram. We also have our consulting company, EX Hospitality. Our catering company, Dining with the Tunes. We do intimate catering as well as large corporate catering and weddings. And then our seasoning company is Craft Brothers. You can find that on social media as well.
Look, I love it. Look, that's how you stay connected. That's how you are able to grow. And again, of course, you never know. There could be a future partnership with him, with his seasonings. I'm going to throw that out there, folks. Okay. But yeah, until next time, you guys stay hungry, and also make sure you DM us. And if any kind of great news that you want to talk about, we're here to talk about you, because again, it's all about celebrating you. See you guys later. All right, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that latest episode of Let's Toast Live with Chef Shannen Toon. You guys, he provided us with a wealth of knowledge, and, definitely I hope you guys were able to absorb that. And just like that is just what the Culinary Business Network is all about. You guys, if you have not joined, you guys can join it today just for $1 to be able to get a wealth of knowledge to help better your business for future growth and sustainability for years to come. So again, if you have not joined, please follow us and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, also on our social media spaces as well too, Instagram and Facebook, to know when the next Let's Toast Live session will be going on. And of course, a little bit more information about how to join the Culinary Business Network. Until next time, you guys, let's toast.